Yes, welcome back to the second half of our Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan episode. We have watched this movie, and as usual, I just finished watching it like about an hour or so ago. Doesn't mean it's fresh in my memory, but I did watch it, as did Scott and as did Dana. So let's jump right in to Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. Now, just to be clear, as I said in the first half of this episode, it's not one of these new Star Trek jammies that have come out in the last decade or so. No J.J. Abrams here. We're talking about the original crew. William
1982,
Shatner.
this came out.
Yes, Leonard Nimoy, Walter Koenig, George Takei, or is it Takai? I don't know.
Takai.
The Michelle, what's her name, who plays Aurora?
Yeah.
So yeah. Just to be clear, we're talking about the original Star Trek too, and wow. You said 1982?
1982, yes.
Okay. I gotta say, it feels and it looks like 1982. I dare say it feels like 1976.
Really? So what I did was I watched the first film first. I watched the Star Trek the motion picture.
Of course you did.
Which was absolutely horrible, just as I remembered it. It is so slow and boring and so ugly and 70s looking. They're wearing really, really weird outfits. There's some bald chick in there for some unknown reason. It is a really boring one. I'll recap really quick. This is the big twist for the first movie. The bad guy in this movie is called Vigor, I think. Vigor. They keep talking Vigor this, Vigor that. Yeah. And you find out at the end of the film that it's actually Voyager. It's the Voyager space probe somehow got mixed up with some kind of artificial intelligence and became super powerful. But the middle of Voyager was somehow scuffed up, so it kept calling itself Vigor instead of Voyager, and it just didn't know its own name. And that's pretty much the movie.
And you're saying this was the twist?
The twist was, that it was actually the Voyager probe. It is really bad. I fell asleep watching it. I had to rewatch it because I fell asleep, and it was a waste of 2 hours. Any episode of Suits is 10 times better than Star Trek the motion picture.
For reference, audience, we just finished recording our second Suits episode, so it's still lingering in our heads. So forgive us if we keep bringing the series up. Mm-hmm. But I had actually entertained the thought of watching the first one yesterday, the first Star Trek.
You're so lucky you did not.
And of course, I have to trust my gut. I have to honor my instinct. And my instinct said, no, June, just
and I remembered it was bad too, and I put myself through it. So,
I mean, one thing I appreciate about you, Scott, is you are thorough. So I count on you.
Thoroughly stupid. But I didn't find it that. I mean, some of the special effects weren't great in it, but I didn't distract me from the film. What about you, Dana? What's your impressions of how it looked?
Well, first, I'd like to comment that the real plot twist on Star Trek 1 is that you're amazing at phonetics, because when you kept saying Vigor, I just kept thinking to myself, like, he's really good at enunciating. And don't worry, we'll get canceled about something later, Scott. But you brought up something that I was afraid of, because what I remembered most about Star Trek and why I never really was big into it is I hated the pacing. Like, I get that they try to take you into an imaginary world, but I always just felt like every single episode or every single movie that I recalled was like the pacing was so damn slow.
Yeah.
And then you finally get there. I would say that I'm with you. Knowing the times that this came out, it is funny to think about the technology, but it didn't really bother me too much. I mean, I think what it was supposed to be, the year 2285, and they pretty much had flashlights. Flashlights were like the big technology that felt like with every single thing. But but it didn't distract me as much as I thought. This honestly, I will save some of this for how good was it? But I was surprised by this movie of just how much when you haven't seen something in so long and then kind of watch it as if it's the first time again, it's like there are things I really didn't mind, but I think the pacing was the thing that I went into and just was surprisingly happy that it wasn't really crazy like that. And I
the
think
first
that
one,
the
the
Star
pacing's
Wars,
bad.
So,
The
so it's
first
funny
one,
that
like
this one,
it takes them like 10 minutes. Just they're taking the shuttle going to the Enterprise, and it's slowly going on the Enterprise, and you're watching it slowly light up, and nothing is happening. I mean, it's just so boring.
So I touched upon that in the first half of this episode concerning the Star Trek movies, and they really made it a point, and it seems to be in every installment of this franchise, dealing with the original crew and the original ship, the Enterprise, is that they have the obligatory scene where they like it's almost like Enterprise porn, where they do these slow shots in every angle of this ship. And let me tell you something, this ship wasn't that pretty. I mean, like there had been enough science fiction movies that had been out by then. I mean, even talking early 80s.
This is no Millennium Falcon. You know,
no. This looked. Let's call it what it is. It's like a plate with two dangly things at the end. I mean, it looked cool, and it especially, I'm sure, it looked extra cool in the 60s during the original series. But I will say this, I'm not sure. So I watched this movie, I think it was on Paramount Plus, because I have like a free subscription or something, right? So I happened to have it. And I gotta say, I don't know if I saw maybe a special edition where they cleaned it up or something, but it actually looked spectacular. Like, especially I gotta say, like the in certain scenes, especially later in the movie when they go to some nebula zone or something or whatever it is. And the ship always looks like a toy floating through space. Yeah. I'm sorry. But the backgrounds, the space itself looked really cool. And it made the toy ship even stick out like a sore thumb. It was like, here's this toy ship, and you almost expect to see the wire over it pulling it or whatever. But it did look nice. It was, I guess I saw a cleaned up version or something because it looked flawless.
Did Shatner's wig look flawless in that as well? Or
could not salvage that toupee for shit. No, I'm sorry. That came to. In fact, it probably worked against it. It's like when you see things in 4K and you see like every birthmark and detail on someone's face. That's the effect this cleanup did on Shatner's toupee. It made it apparent that there was a wig thing going on his head. So that worked against him for sure.
Should we get into the plot? I think we are talking about the whole.
Yeah, let's dive in, man. Let's dive in. So I mean, from what I recall, and of course I count on you guys to correct me because I'll probably be wrong. It starts out with like an extra, like it starts out with a psych out, basically. We see a situation going on within, I think it's the Enterprise.
Oh.
And did we mention that Kirstie Alley was in this movie?
I thought she was only in part. I thought she was in part 3. I think she was in part 2. I had totally forgotten it was this movie she was in.
Now, was this her first big role?
I think so. I think she had come. It was before.
It was her first as a principal. Yeah, I think is what I read.
Yeah, she looked young. She looked really young.
Oh my gosh, she looked like a child almost. It was so charming to see her in this role, and
she was good.
She was good. I think
she did good too.
Yeah, she was playing a stiff-ass Vulcan.
Yeah, so, I mean, what are you gonna do with that character? But they never bring. I don't think they bring her back. I don't think she's in 3 or any of the other movies after this. But I thought they should have brought her back.
Okay,
she's probably too big of a star by then.
She might have been on Cheers after this. Probably not too long. She got on to Cheers.
It would stand to reason. But it starts off. This movie starts off with they're doing some kind of exercise, but they you don't know it's an exercise, and you see Kirstie Alley's character sitting in the captain's chair, and you're like, what the hell is going on? Because you're like, it's Star Trek. Where's Shatner in that chair? Where's Leonard Nimoy. Whereas
But no, Leonard Nimoy's there, and so
they are
Bones.
there. The rest of
they're all there.
And Sulu, that is true. You're right. And Uhura. But you see some commotion go on, and it's funny because those explosions in the
and they're like falling and leaping around and playing dead.
A flashlight goes off.
Yes.
It doesn't seem safe. It doesn't really seem like a good work environment, like a safe work environment.
Not at all. Not at all. But I guess Kirstie Alley is going through some exercise. And we discover that William Shatner, when he walks in, and of course, anytime William Shatner makes his appearance in any of these movies, it has to be a glorious thing, right? I mean, the door to the cockpit opens and there's this light behind them, like it's
and
a
then
god.
You can see that hair. You can see that silhouette of the hair. You know who it is.
Yes, exactly.
Bro, the note that I wrote down was white shaft.